Still sleeping, I've been up since 6 a.m. Early bird gets the world what it is. 10 a.m. You're still sleeping, I've been up since 6 a.m. Early bird gets the world what it is. All these birds, they get curved what it is. I don't frown a lot. Lately blessings coming down a lot. They coming down. I see my fam, I can't be down and now. I can't be down and since 17 they tried to knock me down. Don't ever count me out. I could go round for round. Don't need no friends, don't need no one around. Don't need no one. I get some blues, I get to thumbing down. I get to thumbing. It comes to me, don't do no running round. No time for running round. I get upset.
And my mic was turned off. Good morning. It's too early for me. Wow, I think this is the first stream I have done in the morning, in my morning at least, my time zone. I actually wanted to stream last week, but I was a bit sick. I had a little bit of a cold, nothing serious, but my voice was pretty much gone. So I thought streaming without my voice would be a bit boring. So yeah, let's do it now for a bit. Cheers. No beer this time on the Monday morning. Well, yeah, it's also the first stream in a while, and I'm saying that every single time I'm streaming because I'm not doing this often enough, actually. As often as I would like to, because I don't know. So I sometimes think I should get back into this routine where I just turn on the cam and mic while drawing without thinking too much about it, but then well, it's not so easy to get into this routine actually, somehow. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys have, I don't know if it's still Sunday in maybe US West Coast, so if anyone's watching from there, I don't know if you still have your Sunday, so hope you're having a good Sunday evening, and everyone else a good Monday and good start into the week. Schönen guten Tag, unerwartet, ja, unerwartet definitiv. Ich glaube tatsächlich, wie gesagt, ich glaube das erste Mal, dass ich vormittags streame überhaupt in, weiß nicht, 3 Jahren oder so. Yep. But gotta try some new stuff. I always wanted to find out how many people will come in and watch when I'll stream in the mornings. So we can check that out now and then find out together. So, art, huh? Today I'm going to color this portrait here. And I just see where's my window here? It's so weird. In the corner. That doesn't look right. Fix. Okay, I put this time-lapse video here on the top. So there's this portrait, this Shroomhead's portrait. Shroomheads is a project by me and Rick Galbraith, in case you don't know it. It's a portrait, like character portrait project where Rick, he's an author and writer, and he writes stories, and I'm turning them into characters and scenes, mostly characters. And we recently started working on this again after a break, and did a couple of portraits, new ones, and this one is one of the new ones that I have been drawing last week. And it's everything belongs to factions, and this one belongs to the Lizard Gang faction, kind of an underground, like sub-ground level gang that lives like in the tunnels below this cyberpunk city we have been coming up with. And yeah, I never left cyberpunk topic. So I never stopped doing it. I mean, I have been, for example, I mean, it's not really hard cyberpunk stuff, but if you look at I mean, if I look at my vending machines, the electric bazaar machines I did, these ones, and also, for example, the where's the, oh, here it is, the Azahi's workshop scene, the sanctuary I did recently. I mean, that's also, I mean, it's not really super edgy cyberpunk. It's more like a soft cyberpunk, I would say, because it's not ultra futuristic, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's still always a topic that I'm dealing with. And I think this character here is also not one of the most like crazy ones, and it's more like, it could be a character like from like present times, you know. It's not necessarily a character from I don't know, late 21st century or so, but of course there's some details in this that are a bit futuristic. So I think that's personally my favorite kind of cyberpunk, not this super heavily sci-fi stuff, but more like stuff that you can connect to current times, if you want to say so. No, the bottle is definitely not cyberpunk, that's right. I mean, there's an astronaut in there, but like the spaceman. But of course the bottle isn't cyberpunk. No. No, not all my work is cyberpunk, but I still, like, there's always a little bit of influence in, or well, in many of my works there's always a little bit of an influence. Jo, guten Morgen. Grüße nach Österreich zurück. Ich bin demnächst übrigens in Österreich, in 2 Wochen. Mal seit längerem mal wieder. Freue mich schon. So. Okay. I wonder if only the Germans are watching, or the German-speaking folks are watching. If I stream this early, we'll find out. Maybe some Aussies in there or so, or someone from Asia, because the Aussies always have the shittiest bet on catching me live on stream, because whenever I stream, it's usually really late. Alrighty. So, colors. Well, the factions have all a little bit of a color code in this project. So, the lizards, as you see here, this is kind of in the middle. This is the lizard gang. You see there's a little bit of tealish blues going on. Purple, obviously. I mean, purple is in there most of the times because it's my favorite color. But we have these we have this kind of alternative pink hues in there as well, so these desaturated pink-ish things. So this is kind of a code that goes through the whole faction that I want to keep in the new one as well. So the coloring is actually not that complex here, because I already have some kind of palette thing going on, and it's just about like finding an individual way of coloring this character, but still keeping it consistent in terms of the palette. So maybe switching colors around a bit, so someone has like teal hair or pink hair, so now she's probably getting more like blue, or we have green hair in there as well. So and then it's a question like of skin color and what looks cool with what skin color, etc. That's also something to consider. I think I might want to give her a really strong blue for a very, very intense blue on her jacket she's wearing, because it could be cool. Yeah, I sometimes use Midjourney just for mood boarding. Also for these characters actually. So sometimes I just let Midjourney spit out some ideas that I then take as references or as inspiration. Yeah, I do that definitely. As much as I'm afraid that this will probably take away my job at some point, it's great for mood boarding. So yeah. So let's find a combination. Maybe she's really kind of more on the blue side in general with the whole. So maybe she has this. Well, I don't want to give her the same hair color as the one I take as a reference on the left. So maybe I want to try to not come too close to that, which I just do. We'll see. We are in the world of digital art, so we can always change the colors, which is great. So I like the contrast of these two here. This is quite nice, but I could also see this being used on the inner part of the jacket, and then we have another color for her hair. Hey Fanny, good to see you. yeah, hope you're good as well. Hope you have a good start to the new week. So I don't know, some kind of purple for her hair maybe. It's basically I think with these shroom heads I always stick very much to simple color palette. I mean, I do that with lots of my artworks, but here especially I usually have like one primary color or primary hue, let's say hue, that I make the dominant color. So for example, this blue is the dominant color in this drawing, and then I try to align the rest of the colors to this blue. So sometimes there's some color contrast in there as well. So if you look to the right on to the little portrait here, this obviously has some cold and warm contrast, pretty strong ones. The red colors always come a little bit, like they're always quite intense on the stream. It's not that intense in the real drawing, but it's still like a pretty much a classic cold and warm contrast. So you have the blue hair and the blue applications and the purple stuff on these gadgets she has around her. And then you have the warm color of the face, and the background is also a warm pink. So that's kind of a classic cold and warm contrast. And it probably started out doing or aligning everything to one color, but then I switched over to making the contrast a bit heavier. It always depends on what I decide for in the process, but in this case here, let's probably try to stay consistent and make a nice limited palette that is because I think it fits better to the character, because she kind of has this melancholic look to her, and this it also fits to the story, to the backstory of the character. So let's try that for once. Yeah, well, I'm creating the color palette is then that what I just described. You know, it's basically picking. If you see the circle here, so I'm in this hue range here, and I'm picking this color. It's probably a little bit too dirty, so I want to probably give it a bit more saturation and a bit more brightness. Although not much more brightness actually. And then so we have this here, and oh, that's actually kind of almost the same as I had before. And then it's kind of when I want to create a more limited palette that is kind of more homogeneous to each others. I'm kind of try to stick within a certain range in the circle here. So if I want to create a big impactful contrast, I go to the other side and pick something complementary. But what I'll do here is just looking at probably 1/5 or maximum a quarter of the circle maybe in range. So we can go into the greens here a little bit and pick something like this, and then we can go to the purples here and probably pick a bluish purple that is on this side, and then we have quite a limited palette. And then later on maybe with the skin color there comes a little different aspect that sets a little contrast. For example, if we have a skin color in this range that is a little bit of a, well, that is a bit dirty, but you know, something like that. This is a bit red probably for skin. But as you see in the range of shroom heads I made before, I take quite a freedom in finding colors for the skin. So we have this one here, which is actually not really realistic skin color, but I still like it. So it's really kind of rusty brown kind of thing. And then we have really pale ones. I mean, this one is probably more on the realistic end. Then we have this one here, who is like kind of red gray, some kind of gray skin tone. So there's a huge range of skin colors. And I'm not trying to stick on the like. I'm taking my artistic freedom here very much and just take a color that I think fits to the palette and not is too realistic. And I'm trying to keep a bit of diversity in there as well, because some colors should obviously be people of color. Some characters should be people of color. And so that's something I take into account as well. But it's only natural to me because I think it's nicer to have a certain range. So
I get all the cheese into my stone cold Jesus, that's my whole thesis. Up above hit pieces, deep in all the creases for the little guy to find. I will make you happy, girl, I'll make you happier.
I gotta quickly send a file to a client. That happens when you do a stream during usual work hours. Someone wants something, but it won't take long.
She just met on a train, and my brain feels like it was made to make me feel pain. Riding my masculinity, I should be secure, I shouldn't put blame. Look, I'm running out for the patriarchy. As of today, I'm changing my ways. I'm changing the train of thought that I got when I was just a little baby. When we have names, I want to be better than what I was when I was first in this. I can improve if you could, then I could do it too. Cause I'm just like you, baby. Ooh, if you spending time out of town, I keep wondering what you found. I promise to do what I can, cause girl, you really got
Upload. Come on.
if you
I'm waiting for an upload to finish so I can send the mail. Ah, yeah. Right. Oh, that sound reminds me of Persona 5, actually. Sounds like one of the repeating tunes there. Anyone played that game? It's love it. All right, so oh, here's some nice, well, a bit too much saturation in these, but some cool starting points for skin tones here in the palette. I don't know what palette this is, but looks like I took it from a picture. I think I want to have her a bit pale looking. Maybe that's a bit too red, actually. The thing with skin tones is that you somehow can mix them with almost any kind of palette, and the human brain will always, at least that's what I experienced, but my human brain will always kind of match it to the palette if it's not completely off the limits, you know. You often have illustrations where you need to put people in and you have a limited color palette and you're like, damn, the skin tones of the people, no matter which one, like white or black or anything in between, this won't ever fit to my palette. But somehow it often works, and I think it's because the fact that we're so used to seeing skin tones all day with ourselves and other people, that it's kind of, that the brain kind of matches the colors, so it never looks weird or out of palette or something. But there are a couple of tricks, of course, to align these skin tones better to a palette you may work with. And I think I'm probably going to have a good trick for that, or a couple of tricks for that, in the series of tutorials I'm just writing. So, because some of you may have heard that I'm working on a coloring book, and it's going to be not only a coloring book with coloring pages, but also there will be tutorials in there, and yeah, with some tips and tricks how to build your palette and stuff like that. I'm writing the tutorials right now, and it's really fascinating because I'm just by writing down my process and how I personally approach things, I'm learning a lot on the side as well about my own process and how I make decisions with coloring, because it's such a intuitive process. It's not always so easy to put this into words, but you can. It works. It's not kind of magic or so. So yeah.
Tell him don't play with me, bitch I got gang with me. Niggas want trade with me, I been up late viewing tape for the sake of it. Heart do the race on stage, I got here to the damn Great Lakes. Let it slide in the ride like a raid, full tank in it. I been clearing space for me, I been feeling great lately. Everything I'm touching now, it been on way to me. Yeah. I'm just trying to take it in, say she done making friends, she through with it. Talking about she craving it, she just wanna take it in. Okay, she bad, but I think we better stand friends. Look at what I'm doing now, I've been on this labor shit. If the shots is going in, niggas know I'm taking them. They hate to see me score again, I've been doing war within. I just want the glory, friend. See that expression on your face is so valid to me. Why so serious? Niggas gotta deal with me, heavy on that chill shit. I've been up recording, know the money tree, leaves falling. I don't know what boredom is. Stealth when I slide through the town with who I build with, who I run the field with. I'm staying safe and treacherous. They calling me the letterman, I be serving quotes, it's not a better man. It's the regiment, what I'm doing now nobody can. Yeah. I be on a job of late, I be running.
I don't know why this window is sometimes weird. Okay, why do you do that? Ah. Yeah, I think she aligns good and well with the rest. It also has still the unique touch I want to see. So that should work. Maybe I give her a very bright background because I think the colors are now very like on the cold side. Obviously, that was what I was explaining before. So we have a very cold palette, except for her skin tone, which is but still not really warm. And I think it makes sense to give her not a warm background, but at least well a little brighter one, because she's more on the melancholic side of the palette. But yeah, as I mentioned, this fits very well to the character, and that's what I actually wanted to achieve here, so that's fine. So let's quickly block out the rest of the clothing here, and then I'm also going to show you something special I have in mind for her jacket. Finding the right colors is now really easy for me, because when you have the routine and you know where you want to go with it, it's really just staying in a very close, like for her clothing. I'm kind of staying just in this area here and just picking colors that I think differ a little bit, but not too much, you know, obviously not too much. Stay in the similar range of saturation and brightness. And then you can set a couple of small contrasts by, like, for example, going with a little less brightness for one of the parts, like this here. So this has significantly less brightness. Just put it in there and you have a little bit of a contrast. This one here is very bright, and then you have a little bit of a mix, and it's all in the same range of the hue, which gives it a very consistent look. It's always possible to go with this, just make a little different decision and change this whole part here. If you want to drag attention to it, for example, I could easily go into the purple hue here, pink maybe even, and let's say just color this one pink, and suddenly you have a different vibe, because you have a piece that takes the whole attention in the whole area here. So this is something to always keep in mind if you want to put attention to something or whatever. Hey Chiara, lots of love back from Germany. I'm glad I'm able to inspire you today. Thanks very much. Alright, so oh yeah, what I wanted to show you is what I did is I put these lines, these kind of lightning bolt-ish lines on the separate layer. So you have here the outlines in the black areas, and then we have here these on a separate layer, because I want to give them another color. And I'm adding another layer, put it to clipping mask, and then I can add whatever color I like. For example, this, and this is always something I love to do because it creates a cool effect. Actually done this before a couple of times for the Shroomhead's portraits, because I always love this pattern on the clothes. And that's it. That was the trick. You can even set like a nice contrast here as well by going for some wild and crazy versions. I mean, no, kind of everything's possible, yeah, actually. But I think I'm going to stay with the teal. So let's go for her face. Oh, I think I'm going to give her one colored eye or something that looks a little bit wild.
I've got a feather on my arm, and every type of bad weather, I feel it come, in every kind of bright ray. You shine in the day, it never ever fly away, not for long.
I wanted my first kiss when I was 6. Used to play ding dong ditch with my crush crossed the crib, thinking that might have gave her a hint. But I ran like a when she asked me if I liked her friend. Had my first girlfriend at 16.
Colors I'm taking here are just the colors from the clothes, because I love it when different areas in an artwork resonate to each other color-wise. So we have the kind of her face and her body kind of surrounded by hair and clothes, and I'm trying to this frame that the hair and the clothes create. I try to resonate with that by taking similar colors here for her eyes. I mean, obviously her eyebrows, like the obvious choice is to give them the same color as the hair. That alone creates some connection to this frame I mentioned.
And even if you do, at least I got to be with you. Build a home together. Well, more precisely, just a room that feels bigger than a mansion, more expansive than the truth, where we get to grow together. Lightly love and have our views. It's been 5 years now. Ups and downs is nothing new. Our routine setting, idiosyncrasies in tune. I know that flying away is something people simply do, but I hope you stick around. It's better spreading wings with you. I used to spread my wings on my own like I stay up through the whole night, putting pictures inside of boxes that I lived inside my whole life. Going through the motions, I arrived upon an ocean. Saw a pretty person standing on a distant island smoking. So I crossed the city street, pumped a cig and started posting, asking questions about their life, like where they from and where they going. I threw out an invitation. 5 years later, we still dating. And those birdies you got floating in my stomach, think they stay.
I've got a feather on my arm, and every type of bad weather, I feel it come, in every kind of bright ray. You shine in the day, it never ever fly away, not for long.
So, lip color. Yeah. Just really stay within the palette here. Yeah, this is probably a bit too strong. We'll see. Yeah, I like it. I think I'm good with the car decisions so far. By the way, I'm sorry if my camera is like shaking like that. I have a little bit of a how do you say, like a in between setup. It's not. I wanted to change my setup. Eventually, I want to have my camera mounted on the wall there. There's the corner of the room, but I still have to add the wall mount, and now the camera is kind of attached on a tripod, and it's a bit shaky when I draw because the table is shaking a little bit when I'm like putting pressure on the iPad. So that's not ideal. I hope that isn't annoying. Actually stuff I wanted to have done like since forever, but I never really I hate doing setup stuff. I really hate it. Putting a hole in the wall here to install the mount, and buying new gear because you never know if it works the way you wanted it to work or whatever. It's really it's a total pain for me. I would love to have someone do this for me. Would love to just pay someone and they come here for a day, install everything, and they just have to sit down and do my stuff. But yeah, I'll get to it step by step, very slowly. Hey Sophie, thanks very much. Okay, I think I got all the details. I mean, it's not... I mean, the hair is very detailed here. But in terms of her fashion style, it's not that detailed and compared to other shroom heads, I think. So this should be fine. I'm doing a little bit of color grading now. Probably find I think I'm quite happy with the colors already, but find a little bit of a... Yeah. Okay. And I want to color the outlines a little bit. What color did I pick here? Okay, yeah. That was fast. Didn't take that long, right? And now we can turn to the shading already. So with the shroom heads, the direction of the light is always front left. So as if the kind of, if I'm the character, no, this so the light comes kind of from here. And this means all the shadows are kind of in this place. Yeah, the hair is challenging because, I mean, I don't want to put such an extreme detail in there that it takes all the attention, because in the end it's just the hair and not, like, the face should be more important. And it will always be because it's in the middle, like in the center of the drawing, and it's, if you have a piece of art or a photography or whatever of a human, then like a human face, then the brain will always make you watch into the face first. So you will rarely notice someone's hairstyle before you notice their eyes and their face. But still, I think too much attention to the hair isn't what I want here, so I'm trying to balance out the details of the shading as well, make it not too crazy. Yo, Sirius, how's it going, man? Oh, I think I forgot to reply to you on Discord yesterday or so, or maybe even on Saturday. I'm really bad at answering DMs right now. It's crazy. It's never been this bad. Really never been this bad before. So I'm on Twitter. I literally gave up answering my DMs. It's not working anymore. It's bad because I used to be very good at this and at least get back to everyone who wasn't obviously a scammer. And just even the ones who asked me for weird commissions and for weird work, I was like, hey guys, thanks for reaching out. Appreciate the message, but I'm not available right now. But even that is, I'm not doing it anymore right now. I hope I can get back into it. Into the courtesy of just getting back to DMs, yeah. I'm probably missing out a lot of opportunities, but I'm also missing the energy to reply to everything. Oh, you wanted to just say hi. Okay, well that has been done now. That's good. Sophie, no, I don't mind you asking. It's a perfectly fine question. It's a very complex question as well. That is not so easily answered in a short reply. But I always love to talk about this because it's, I mean, I love complex topics, I love to try to wrap my head around things, and there's certainly a couple of different factors that allowed me to make art for a living, and one very important factor is the time. So it's just working on this, working to make this happen for a very, very long time. Very long being, in this case, I don't know, well, depends on what you see as the starting point, but actively trying to be a freelance artist. So I'm doing this for around 10 years now. First 3 years probably just doing side jobs as a student, but I still count that in because it put the foundation, started putting in the foundation, because it's making experiences, learning what you don't want to do in the future, because you take jobs that have a really shitty payment and fucked up client expectations, and so that's also important for the progress. Hey, don't leave me, microphone. Oh, it wants to go, huh? Dude. Why? Stay. Okay, whatever. I was just talking about the gear, right? And how I am annoyed by this. Yeah. So a couple of years just learning what works and what not, and what clients you want to work for and what not. And it's really lots of staying persistent and trying to put your name out there, and at the same time improving your skills, and accepting that it is a long process. What helped me a lot is that I am originally a designer, so I was able to work as a designer, also freelance, but so I could kind of always make the decision of, okay, should I take this design job and take the money, or should I say no and try to improve my artist skills? So that was definitely a plus for me, because I could be a freelancer, so I had the freelance lifestyle and everything, and the freedom to decide what to do with my time, instead of having a boss telling me, hey, you have to work on this project today. Obviously you have to work your hours here because you're employed here. So I think that was a big factor. And to everyone who is unsure if they should take the step and take the risk, I think it's important to see it as a long process that you don't have to commit to fully, like 100% from the beginning. So I think you can also like be employed somewhere and at some point say, okay, I'm going to cut my hours at 3 quarters of the time. You can also say like, I'm doing this like only half a week now, and the rest of the week like that pays my rent and my food, and the rest of the week I'm trying to be a full-time artist. I think it's really important to realize that and to accept this, that the process takes time, because it won't happen overnight. I know no one who became a famous or successful artist or whatever overnight. And even if it sometimes seems to be the fact, because someone like lands a gig where they suddenly getting a lot of exposure and well paid and whatever, this always has kind of a foreplay, you know. It's every big gig an artist lands has most times like a year-long foreplay of trying and failing and working for shitty clients who pay $50 for a day of work, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, but also being brave to say no, to do this for, I think you should probably make this experience at some point, just to know how fucked up it feels to work hard on something, and in the end the client tells you, hey, my wife likes blue better than green, can you please change the colors of this from blue to from green to blue? And you're like, what? But it takes also a little bit of like taking a stand and being brave enough to say, okay, I did this once, but if the client comes again and asks me to work for them, I'm like, nope, I won't do this again. And that's what I did, quite harsh at some point. So I kind of selected and curated my work very much, and I was, as soon as I had something had a bad taste to it, I was out of it, and I left immediately, and it was like, sorry guys, I don't have time for this. And it sometimes hurt because you leave money. There's money on the street, you just have to pick it up by working for it a little bit, and you just go past it and you don't take it, you know, and that feels sometimes really bad. And you're responsible for making enough money to pay your rent, etc. And actively deciding against earning some can feel really weird, but for me it paid off big time, because it helped me finding my identity as someone who doesn't work for shit money at others. It's the identity you create is seen by others at some point, and they see, okay, this is a legit artist and a professional freelancer, not some kind of jerk who works for lower than minimum wage. So that was quite the monologue, right? I'm sorry. Did that help any? This is a big part of how I transitioned into doing it full time. Yeah, definitely. Having a portfolio ready whenever something comes up in the weirdest situations, people suddenly are like, hey, we need an artist for our project. You don't happen to know an artist, right? And you're like, oh fuck, where do I have my portfolio? I have to give this guy a link where they can check out my work. And so this is something really, always have your portfolio ready. Don't be ashamed of sharing stuff and putting yourself out there, but don't like share stuff just for the sake of sharing something. It should be work that you would be willing to do again. So if you share a portfolio and there's just work for a client that sucks and a project that sucked, and there's work in there that you're not really proud of, like proud enough of, yeah, okay, sure, you don't have to be proud of everything you do, but you have to be proud enough to think, I would do this again, I would do this exact project again. And it has to be work that clients need to be able to relate to their own situation. So something I learned a lot is that your work needs an audience. So you need to think like, who am I making this for? Who is this? Who's the audience of this project, and who's what kind of client, what person, what company would pay me for doing what? And I see lots of artists out there who do fantastic work, really incredible work, much better than much better artists in the terms of that they're able to draw incredible stuff from their imagination than I will ever be. But their work isn't really fitted to an audience, and I know why they're probably not getting clients and not getting requests, because there's no market for the stuff they do. And this sounds really business-like. So I'm at this point, I'm probably a little bit of a more an entrepreneur than an artist, and some find that probably a bit wrong and sad, but that's just how I work. There needs to be market for the art. You can be an artist and just do your own stuff, but then you're just the artist doing your stuff, and you don't have to then please don't complain about not getting hired for stuff. You want to get hired, you need a market for your work. And for example, what I realized is these isometric drawings I do, there's a really, really nice market for these, for scientists who want to explain stuff, for companies who want to explain their business, for people who want to show how things work in a certain way, who want to give people an overview, and a visual overview on how processes are working, and I realized this is something that helps people understand things on an information design level, and it's also something that is visually appealing, and I love to do this shit a lot. And so that's why, for example, I focused on doing lots of these isometric illustrations, because I know that there's a market for them, and it's a win-win situation, because I love doing it and it's sellable. And realizing this and understanding this helped me transitioning into being a full-time artist a lot, because with everything you do, you're questioning. There's a kid screaming really wild out there. So yeah, it helps a lot understanding your own profile and your position, and how you should build your brand, etc. So lots of comments, man. I need to read a bit. Yeah, blooming. Yeah, you're in the similar situation. Yeah, it's the income that is in that you make in the first years. So in the first year of freelancing, or the first 2 years probably, I actually lived on a loan. So I was still a student, and I got a student loan. So an additional one to the one you can get from the government. And yeah, sure. I mean, it's you always have this kind of voice in your brain telling you, "Damn, dude, you're living on a loan now, and if this doesn't work out, you have to pay this back." But from what? But as a student, I was quite relaxed, because I was like, man, I'm just still studying now. It's, obviously, I can't run all this stuff. Like this thing can't really run on its own. It needs some starting help. So I was quite relaxed about that. But I had lots of months. I rented an office space after a while, and I had lots of months where I sat there and I was like, if the phone doesn't ring now, and if there's no work coming in now, I'm not going to be able to pay the rent for the office, and I have to leave, and I don't know what to do. And something always kind of came up, and when I tried to push it a little bit harder, usually not the nicest kind of work, but at least work that paid the rent for a bit. And networking helped a lot, for example, like getting to know lots of other creatives, and not really asking them for a gig, of course, but just knowing them and them knowing you, and having people around the world in different situations who know your work and who are like in the right situation, are like, hey, I know a guy who can do this. I know a guy who makes this kind of illustrations. And that kind of brought me a couple of gigs that helped me stay over the waterline. But yeah, sure. I mean, the first years it was tough, definitely. And I'm not coming from a rich family or something. I don't have any parents who can give me some money if my bank account is empty. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not meant to be easy, honestly. It's I can't say that it's likely that you will have an easy time building this up. But it's kind of, I feel like it's part of the narrative of artists sometimes, and I think that sucks. I don't like that, because I hate the starving artist narrative. It's really bad. But part of it is true, but everyone who wants to work as a freelancer in any kind of business needs to survive these first years of struggling. Stay tones, hi. Sorry for that's an old message actually. Finally new stream, yeah. Philosophy. Yeah, if you want to get this as a tattoo, you can DM me, and if you want, sure. I usually with tattoos I have like some kind of tattoo ticket policy, so you can tip me what you want, send me just a tip, and I just have the request to not change the art. So the tattoo artist you're going to, the tattooer, is supposed to keep the artwork as it is, because I don't like stuff to be changed. But apart from that, just drop me a DM if you want it. Ruth is on a train for 5 hours. Nice. Well, I'm not going to stay up for 5 hours, but at least a little bit of the... I'll stay with you for a bit of the way. But I have a meeting at 11:30, so I have to stop streaming. That's like my latest exit point today. Yeah, blooming. It's I think, I mean, what I just said about starting your business on the side while still working a full-time job, or I think it only works if you at least cut a couple of hours from your full-time job. So I think it doesn't work with like 100% safety of a full-time job. You know, you have to take risks at some point, because it will burn you out. You can't do a full-time job and then another full-time job during the nights. There's also, I mean, there's people who have kids and stuff, so I mean, it's a whole different story. And I think you need to take at least a little bit of a risk, even if it's not quitting your job completely. I don't know if, I mean, that's really kind of a question of what kind of type of person you are as well, I guess. But I think it's close to impossible to do it completely on the side. And I have my experiences with side businesses, and it's difficult for sure. Yeah, finding a market, of course, it doesn't make sense to find a market and then, or to identify a market that you don't enjoy working for or working in this niche. It's then you just could do art for fun, like as a hobby, and keep your day job, because if it doesn't make you happy doing it, I think, I mean, you have a certain style, and even if that style isn't kind of carved out completely, you have at least a direction. So some people make art that is more suitable for a younger audience, for example, for kids, and then you can think about different ways to I don't know, do children's book illustration, or to go in the printing business and sell prints of your work. I know that this is a huge niche in when it comes to children's illustration, for example. Or if you're more like, I mean, concept art is difficult because it's a very hard field to work in, as far as I know. I don't have personal experience, but I know from friends. If you feel comfortable in portraying products, and if you have a certain style that where you draw lots of backgrounds and scenes and stuff, you could think about editorial or commercial illustration. The niche doesn't have to be extremely small. What I just mentioned with the isometric illustration is quite specific already. It doesn't need to be that specific. I mean, I'm doing editorial, I'm doing commercial, I'm selling prints. So you don't have to decide for one thing, right? But what I meant with finding a market is that you don't have to have one market to deliver stuff to, but there should be a market for the things you do in general. So any kind of market. I think that's the important part. And it's not necessary to do this with all your stuff, but if you're starting out and if you're trying to transition into full-time, I think it's worth, at least for a while, at least for like a period of time, I think it's worth to focus on this, because if you got things running, so for me, for example, take this illustration here, or the one here, the bottle. I did these. I'm doing these completely in my free time. But even at least with this bottle illustration, at least I mean I got this guy who wants it to too, so that's a market as well. That's a big market as well actually, and I still have, even if it's just a totally personal illustration, I have in mind that I'm going to present this on Patreon and explain how I do this. So this is also one part of my kind of market complex, if you want to say so. But with the style, I was from the beginning I was like, okay, I'm going to do this in a way that it could be attractive as a print for people. So because I know people like this cute stuff, and the isometric drawings are also something that people find kind of adorable, and so I had in the back of my mind, I always had this aspect of selling it as a print at some point, as a sticker or whatever. So this aspect is always kind of present, and yeah, this is probably not something that a commercial client will book me for, because it's a bit too cute and too unrelated to any kind of business, but you never know. It's with business clients, it's thing is you can sell like a shit ton of prints, but if a client comes and commissions you for a series of 5 to 10 illustrations or whatever, you can you have to sell a lot of prints to rake in that money that such a client ideally pays you for. So it definitely makes sense to have business clients, commercial clients on your list. And you can also, for example, what I did for a while is when I had free time, I made illustrations about current topics. So I took like I had a look like what, not really daily headlines from the newspaper, although that is also cool, a cool exercise, but more like general topics that people deal with at that time. And if you want to get yourself in a position to become attractive for editorial clients, that's definitely a nice way to show that you're able to handle topics and to turn information and in kind of media topics into visuals. Even though editorial is definitely a very, very special field, it's not paying that much money, and it's extremely time sensitive. So I'm not doing it that often because I try to not get a burnout. Because they often like call you and they like, hey, we need an illustration in 2 days about this. Here's an article, and we pay you like $500. And you're like, okay, 2 days of total exhausted, it's like self-destructive work for $500. Well, but it's not all that bad. So sometimes they have better budgets, and sometimes they also have more time. So but it helps to be able to turn information into visuals in general, not only for editorial. I think it's a nice asset to be able to understand topics, understand relations, and how things are connected. Oh yeah, it's not about generosity. I think sharing knowledge is. I have the philosophy of that sharing knowledge is always at some point coming back to you. So not from a like Buddhist already, not from a spiritual thing. Like I don't really believe in karma. But I think it's just, I think it helps everyone, including me, to sometimes just share stuff. And I mean, I know I sometimes also monetize it by, I have my Patreon. So for everyone who wants to support me, I try to share some in-depth, special kind of knowledge there from time to time as well. But I don't think you need to monetize every bit of information and knowledge you pass over. But I do I don't know if you know my my art critique plan on Patreon. Unfortunately it's not really active right now, but I mean it is active, but we didn't have a critique for a long time. But if you're interested in getting like an in-depth look by me at your work, like and get some one-to-one feedback, like what you could or should improve, in my opinion, the art critique thing is still available on Patreon. So yeah, maybe that's interesting to you as well. But yeah, not wanting to sell it, just saying that it could be helpful. I also really would love to do a podcast, to be honest. I'm thinking about doing this for such a long time, and I know podcast is oh yeah, well, don't we have enough podcasts already? Yeah, I know, but I still love the idea of doing one with like an interview podcast with a couple of my artist friends and just asking them the same questions, you know, like what was a game changer for them to become successful as artists, etc. I know there's these kinds of podcasts already, but I just feel like I would love to do my own, you know. But yeah, it's something I'm thinking about all the time, but so far I couldn't really turn it into something real. But I think I'm at some point, I don't know when, but I think at some point I probably will just try to record 2 or 3 interviews and just put them on YouTube and see how it goes, and if people like it. And then, I mean, it doesn't have to be promised to do like 200 episodes. It can also like just be a short series of interviews, and to test or try the waters, see if the resonance is good, and if yes, then could do more, and if no, then fuck it. Oh, thanks for the testimonial series. Yeah, I should do it. I should do the podcast. I'm going to do the podcast at some point. I don't know when. Maybe when my coloring book is done. Maybe then. I also thought about doing it in German, actually, because there's hardly any really good creativity and illustration and art podcasts in German. but then you're losing quite a lot of audience, like potential audience. So maybe better in English, or I just wait for the this YouTube feature to come out that translates your content automatically. And yeah, about the deadlines. Honestly, that's just practice. It's the same with writing offers or writing quotes for work. It's crazy. So I've been tracking my time since the very beginning. So that's something I learned when I was learning I was a trainee as a media designer at a consultancy. So tracking my time with everything I do, and it's like really crazy hack, because even though it's creative work that you can't always put into numbers, I'm now able to predict the time I need for an illustration, plus minus probably 10%. So it's really great. So if I start something, or if a potential client asks me for a quote, I'm like, okay, I'm going to need 2 days for this, which is 16 hours, and I'm like, chances are very high that I'll be between 14 to 18 hours in the end. So very close to the 16. And that helps me a lot. And that's the same with deadlines. Of course, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, shit, I have a deadline today or tomorrow, and I need to come up with a good idea now, because the client needs a scribble or a concept or whatever. And sometimes it's frightening, but you can trust your own process, and you can trust your own routine at some point, and you will do something that will work. Even if it's probably not perfect, you can always go there and say, hey, I have something here. Let's talk about it. Let's see if it's the right direction, and we can always adjust it or tweak it. Which is this is the special thing about editorial. This is the only field where a deadline really is a deadline, and you can't really fuck it up, because the magazine has to be printed and the newspaper has to be printed. So this is the only part of the job where you need to come up with something. And I have a couple of techniques for that. Do I have a YouTube video for that? I think I have a YouTube video for that, but I'm not sure. Or is it just, maybe it's one of the many videos I have on paper but not recorded yet. It's not nothing unusual for me. Oh yeah, I have this white paper syndrome video on YouTube. And also the Inktober video I made is also not too bad for this. So this one here is not too shabby, I think. Yeah, it's really a technique thing in the end. It's about, sometimes I have these gigs where the deadline comes close and I really don't know what to do. And then I have usually my go-to subjects that I know that I know always kind of work for me and for clients. And then I try to mix these subjects, for example, the isometric drawings, for example. So if I don't know what to do at all, I can always rely on the fact that many clients really dig this style, and then I take the topic I need to work on and try to combine it with this technique, with this visual direction. And that doesn't mean that all my isometric work is always stuff where I didn't know what to do, but some of it is, because I know it often works, and of course it doesn't fit to any kind of commission, but it's one example of many I have. So that also prevents me from going out of ideas at all, because this combining and reassembling technique is working on many levels actually. So, how's she doing? Not in German. I'm cutting off not only 85.9%, but I'm cutting off probably around 95% of my audience, because fun fact is also, like, as we were talking about freelancing, etc. Fun fact is that in my own home country, I am not that successful. So if I would have to rely on income from German clients, I would not be able to live from it. It's something I learned. I luckily learned quite early, is that my style isn't that much requested here in Germany, and that I have to work on getting international clients. And now it's so my accountant. If my accountant sees lots of invoices going out to German clients, he's like, "Wow, you had so many clients in Germany this month. What was going on?" Or this quarter, and it's quite funny actually. But illustration in Germany is also not that big as in other countries like France, the US, UK. Illustration is a bigger topic, unfortunately, and I hate Germany for that fact, because it sucks. There's lots of great artists and illustrators here, and I think illustration isn't recognized enough. There's still people who don't know what your job is if you tell them you're an illustrator in Germany, and lots of them. So that's a bit sad, but I can work with it because of the internet. Hooray! Oh yeah. One of the evildoers, the NFT scum. Right. Oh, you're posting my artist reveal. Nice, I need to retweet. Sophie, I don't even know much about the illustration business in Australia. I'm just thinking if I ever had an Australian client. I think yes, but it's been a while ago. I can't even remember what that was. Yeah, but I've been working with people in Australia, and it always sucked to find a meeting, time for meetings because of the time zones. Whoops, Instagram, hey. Oh, okay. You're preparing the artist reveal. Okay. Then I don't have to hurry. Alrighty, so I think the shading's looking good. I mean, the hair is... I didn't want to put too much attention to the hair, but she has... there is lots of hair stuff going on. Well, it is what it is. It's okay. Yeah, the German market is, of course, we have lots of editorial illustrations. So, for example, newspapers and magazines, they work a lot with illustration, sure, but I think, especially on the commercial side, there's lots of potential. So, and I guess Ruth, you're right. There's also not lots of bravery going on when it comes to the styles, and I feel like lots of illustration here is kind of focused on children's books, and people have the perception of illustration being for children a lot, you know, which I find quite wild because everyone knows illustration from editorial, and I don't really understand why you would think that it's a children's thing, but it's I'm not sure. I think I not sure who it was, but I had this discussion with someone who had an explanation for Germany not being kind of like people here not being so fond and not having so much knowledge about illustration, but I forgot the reason for that. But this guy, some kind of had an explanation for it. But it's there's a development. I think it's very slow, but there is one. So we'll see. Maybe it will change more in the future, and we see a higher acceptance or whatever. Maybe it's because Germans are pragmatic and they're like, it's not a necessary. Like a newspaper could work without pictures at all. You always only need the texts, and why would you have pictures? I don't know if it's this kind of pragmatic approach to things. Yeah. Yeah, good to know someone has an explanation, right? I could always try to find this person. In the end, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can... it's not my job or part of my job to... wow, I'm bright in the camera, I just see. Holy shit. That's better. What was I? Oh, and it's not my job to convince people to use illustration. You know, it's people don't come to me and are like, we are thinking about getting illustrations for our campaign or for our business or for a website. Can you let us know, or can you explain to us why we should hire you? It's people have to make this decision before they contact me, and so it's not really my concern making people interested in illustration in Germany. It's, yeah, but it's an interesting topic, definitely. Oh, this portrait is for the Shroomheads project, which is a character design project. So this is kind of a whole series of portraits I'm doing together with Rick Galbraith, who is a writer, and he writes stories for these. And it's a so-called PFP NFT project. So we are kind of selling these as NFTs, and people can be part of this project and use the characters as their profile pics on social media, for example, and just collect them. And yeah, it's just a series. So it's a personal series in the end that we're working on, and it's quite fun because I'm always getting the stories written and have this kind of material to work out the character, and this is always really cool, a cool process for me. So yeah, not for a client, etc. As much as we've been talking about client work and commercial work, this is not anything commercial. But I have to stop this now because I have a meeting in 10 minutes. And I would love to continue, but have to run for this reason. Yeah, but it's like 90% done. So I would add some kind of some more texture here and there to the colors, and some reflections and some lights reflections. But apart from that, it looks very much done. I think I'm going to finish it later on, maybe in the afternoon, and then I'll post it to my Instagram stories, or I'll post it to the what's it called, the broadcast channel. So I will, I think I will throw it in there. So if you are a member of the broadcast channel, you could take a look there later on and have a look at what it came out like. I'll let you know about the Solana thing in the DM series, because I have to quit now. Not because it's a private bit, but it would take me too long to explain. Yeah, well, guys, have a nice day. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the Aussie guys. I'm glad you've been here as well, in a more convenient time zone for you. Yeah, it was nice streaming in the morning for a change. I actually liked it. And I hope maybe I will stream again this week. I'm not sure yet, but because I started working on the cover for my coloring book. And I think I am going to, it's in the very, very beginning of the illustration, so and I think I want to make a dedicated illustration for the cover, and I'm working on that, and maybe I can stream a bit and show you my process there and show you how I come up with the whole concept for the cover. But we'll see what my weekly to-dos say and if it's possible for me. Alright guys, thanks for watching, see you soon, bye bye.